Hello. Hello, everyone. Let me know if the music is too loud. I have found good copyright-free music this time. Welcome in, everyone. Welcome in Crazy Dash. Welcome in Cult of the Hermits. Hi, Nightbot. Welcome in Groove. Welcome in Zipora. Zipora, is that how you pronounce it? Thank you for modding. Yeah, so today we're diving into making environments in Blender for references for illustration. I'll walk you through the main ideas first, and then we'll jump straight into a live demo so you can see how it can be applied in real time. And I'll also be featuring some artwork from the community's monthly challenge. The monthly challenge this week is environments. So hopefully you're all really excited about that. I know I am. A lot of artists get the theory of like making 3D for their environments, but they get stuck when it comes to actually using Blender, because Blender is certainly something. It is a really common problem, and today we're going to close that gap. By the end of today's stream, you'll not only feel like comfortable about using Blender in your own art, but you'll feel more confident in making clearer, more intentional choices. Big shout out to our Discord community and our subscribers. You guys are awesome. If we haven't met, I'm Dali. I'm one of the instructors here at Wing Canvas. I don't specialize in anything. I'm a generalist, like we said on the marketing stream. We're a school of illustration and visual storytelling dedicated to helping art nerds turn their passion into income. All right, so we've got about 2 hours together, so let's get to it and make every second count. Every single second. So, let me see if I can get this right. No, I don't know. Okay. If you'd like personalized feedback on your artwork or portfolio guidance, that's exactly what we do in our mentorship and VIP programs. We stream twice a week to help you learn art fundamentals if you want accountability, personalized feedback, and career guidance. Become a member today. All right. So, I have a picture of a cat up. Please ignore that. Let me take the cat away. No more cat. Let me see. Oh, do you like my voice? Thank you very much. I was always very self-conscious about my voice when I was little, because people told me that I sounded like a man, and I was like, I'm a little girl. Oh, the cat's back. So here we are. When I decided that I wanted to learn Blender, I really wanted to be someone that could make their own environments in Blender and not have to struggle with the perspective, not having to struggle with like figuring out what might be in there. I could just set dress and you know, have a good time. So let's see. This is the environment that I showed you last week when we were talking about making environments in Blender. This is actually based off of an illustration, and I can load up the illustration. Hold on, let me get this bad boy open. Oops. I'll show you the illustration it's based off of. It's based off of a friend of mine's illustration. Where did I put it? Hold on. There's a lot of cars. There's a lot of cats. There it is. So it's based off of this. Let me see if I can make this wider. Yes, so we are going to look at everyone's monthly challenge at the end of stream. I think it'll be something to look forward to. We're gonna have a blast. Y'all are gonna love it. Let me see if I can actually do something really quick. Hold on. Brain fart. I'm having a brain fart. Yeah, there we are. Chat. No, I don't want that. Add one. Oh, it's only Twitch. Okay, never mind. Maybe I can do this. Okay, perfect. Live the brain beans. Yeah, let's just say I've had a lot of brain beans this week. So this is an example of something that I worked on for perfecting making 3D environments. And I want to break down something that we can work on together. And I'm going to change my I wish OBS would cooperate today. Hello. And there we are. We're gonna do a couple things. We're gonna dive into making some notes together. This is Clip Studio Paint. I know this isn't Blender, but we're gonna use it to take notes today, so you have notes. Here we are. Let's use a nice pencil. Dark detail pencil. That sounds good. I love that. Here we are. Notes. Dallas. Oh, I don't like that pencil. Me no likey. Use something else. Oh, I'm zoomed in. That's why. Dalisay. Blender. Environment. Oops. Notes. Yay! So, first things first, we want to, I know Josh has been talking about the different perspectives, the 1 point perspective, 1 point, which is kind of like this, you know, look with the horizon line. Oops. And it's kind of like that. And you can kind of move the dot anywhere along here and it'll be different. And you can even have like the 2 point, or there's 2 different vanishing points, and then you'll have something like a cube. And then you even have 3 point. And you can have like an infinite number of points, honestly. So this one would be something like this, where you have like I promise I can draw. And it's like a really extreme angle of a cube. But you know what? We don't have to fuss with any of that. We don't have to fuss with any of this. We don't need this. Here I am. Here I am not fussing with it. This is me going, no, I don't want to do this. This is not for me. Because we're going to use Blender. This is me going, no. But in order to start with Blender, I'm looking at the camera like you can see me. In order to start with Blender, we're going to make we're going to make a brief, because a brief is going to be very helpful. A brief is going to be so helpful in deciding exactly what you're going to do. So in this case, we're going to make 2 environments, 2 very quick environments today. We're going to make one. We're going to do an interior bedroom. And you're going to be like, Dal, you're going to model a whole bedroom in under an hour? And I'm going to be like, yes, because we're not modeling everything. We're just doing the basics. And then we're going to do an exterior urban space. Let's say an alley. Keep it easy. So, for our interior bedroom, we are going to look at something. We're going to make like a little floor plan. Floor plan, so smart. We love a floor plan. So, you can even look up a floor plan on Google or Pinterest. But you can be like, well, my door is here. My bed is here. And it's always helpful to come up with a floor plan when you're doing like a 3D model of something. Because if you have your floor plan, then you know exactly where everything's supposed to go. And then you don't have to worry later being like, oh, well, I don't actually know where I want the closet. I don't really know where I want like the rug on the floor. I don't know where I want this, that, and the next thing. Because you have already planned it. So this can be my desk, and you can put like a little computer on it. It'll be a laptop, a mouse, oops, and like a lamp. And then, and only then, once you have things like labeled, and you're sitting there and you're like, this is exactly what I wanted. Yes, good. I like it. And you're making this face exactly. I'm in a bit of a punchy mood today. You're making this. Now you get references. References. I was talking too much and now I need water. So I'm just gonna go on Google real fast. I know Google is sort of the spawn of all evil now. Google took too long to respond. Pardon me? I'm sorry, what? One sec. Are we still on? Are we still good? Yeah, we're good. Okay, good. We're gonna look up single bed. We're just gonna get like a nice single bed. The first one, we're picking off. We just want something that sort of represents the shape that we're going for when we model. A chair. Desk chair. Go with the first one. It doesn't need to be like, this one might be a little complicated actually, but we'll make it work. We're gonna make it work. Don't worry about it. Let's see. Rug. We need a rug. I want to say a circular rug instead of just rug. Circular rug. Oval rug. Because I drew an oval rug. Wow. Braided oval rug from Amazon. Exactly. And then we have a desk. Computer desk for laptops. Wow, so many options to choose one. I'm going to choose this one from Walmart. Not sponsored. So you see what I'm doing here? I'm just getting like very basic image references to plan out what I'm going to make in Blender. because now I have a floor plan, which means that I have a plan, and I have references to model from. And something I missed. I'm just gonna merge everything down into one layer because I'm a menace. I can plan out where I want the windows. So say this person is very lucky and has 2 windows in their bedroom. And then this is where the closet is. So we'll label it closet. So now, and only now, we can go into Blender. Oh, I should probably save it. So, Blender. Yeah, it's like, it sounds, it is simple, but it's hard to remember sometimes that like planning ahead is the best opportunity for yourself to make your life easier. Also, hello, John. I don't think I said hello to you. Let me save. Let's get rid of this. I don't want this. Get out of here. So, when I'm making an environment in Blender, I just want to hide all the stuff I don't need. So I'm going to move this. I'm going to move the camera. I don't want it. And I'm going to start with a plane. I'm going to add a mesh plane. There it is. And it's about 2 meters by 2 meters right now. Or sorry, it's 1 by 1. So now that I've made a mesh plane, I just want everyone to realize something. I'm going to save this before I go too far. I'm going to call this Blender Streams Environ. Is there a playlist of stream VOD so I can watch after stream? I believe so. So something I didn't talk about in my previous one second, in this, is that I did not decide on the measurements of the room. This is my second lesson on Wing Canvas, John. Thank you for asking. So I'm going to say that this room, for sake of argument, is going to be 4 meters by 3 meters, right? Maybe 3 meters by 2 meters. And the reason I want to have that measurement, the reason I want to have like even the most basic measurement, and I know numbers are evil, is because in Blender, this is set to metric. So you're not going to be able to estimate the scale of things unless you have the actual measurements. So this is currently 1 meter by 1 meter. So now I can set it to be 3 meters by 2 meters. And now I have the scale of my room exactly as I planned it. You see where I'm going with this? So now I can rename this floor. So, and like I showed you last week, you can turn on this little cursor and deselect it. So now I can't select the floor and move it. We love that. And now you can just start building. So, and I can go over, because now that you have like the base for the scale, you can kind of make everything else whatever scale you want, as long as it's within the realm of scale that you set earlier. Does that make sense? Because now you're not going to make a bed this big because you know that this is 2 meters. And you're not going to make a bed this big because you know this is 2 meters. So as long as you have your base measurements basically all set out, you can kind of go, you can get a much better idea of scale. And like, it doesn't have to be the exact measurement of a single bed, right? It doesn't have to be like, oh, you made the single bed too wide, you made this twin bed too wide. Because ultimately you're going to be drawing it. You're not going to be bed. You're not going to be like using this exactly as an exact reference. You're not going to be, oops. No one's going to take you to jail for making a twin bed that's slightly too large. You can always adjust it later. Yeah, exactly. So if you go into this little filter icon and turn on the selectable toggle, it'll turn on this little arrow. And I explained this last week, but you can deselect the object you don't want to be selectable. So now if I do this, I only select the bed. Now, something I didn't show you last week is that if you go into edit mode by pressing tab, you can actually add more meshes to the same object. So you can have multiple objects in one object. And this is one way of making really easy block-ins really quickly. So if I wanted legs on this bed, I would just make another cube and add it on, and then shift duplicate. And like, I'm not being super particular about the way that I'm modeling this right now, because I'm going to be drawing over this. It's not a punishable offense by law to not do a good job here. You're still doing a good job, but you're not, this is not going to be used in production. This is going to be used in production in the sense that it's going to be a flat image that you look at like this. But hold on, I want to take a screenshot of these references. But, and there's always a but, I'm going to open up this, I'm going to move over here, I'm going to open this up. Now, in my references, I noticed that I chose a bed that is a little lower to the ground. It does have legs, but it's a little lower to the ground. And there's a headboard. So I'm just gonna go ahead and add like new sections. Oops. And extrude some stuff. But now it basically looks like the bed in my reference. And I can also double check and look at my floor plan, which I'm also going to pull up. Oops. Oh, that's too big. So just based on the proportions, this bed is maybe not as wide as I did on my floor plan, but it's basically the size that I wanted. So we can move forward a little bit, not a lot. So now I'm out in object mode. So now I can start blocking in the other stuff. This is a small room, but you know what? Maybe that's just the mood I'm in. So let's look at our desk. Move it over to where I want it. Scale it how I want it. Now I'm scaling and moving stuff using like the axes. And just a reminder from last week, you can scale and move things along particular axes by pressing the G button, not scale, move by pressing the G button on your keyboard and then choosing the axis that you want to move along. So Z, X, Y. So in this case, I'm like, this desk is a little high, so I'm going to move it down on the Z axis. So it's about the same height as everything else. and it's a little too deep, so I'm gonna scale it on the y-axis. Maybe it's a little higher than the bed. You swear you saw a floating pink thingy. You may have. And now I can do the same thing I did before and add more meshes to this. Where? And like, I know that this is clipping through the floor and we can fix that for posterity, but it doesn't have to be exact here. Because you may decide that you want to change something. You may decide that you want to make it taller. And like, you're not going to be drawing the stuff through the floor. So having a little bit of extra room, wiggle room is not going to hurt you. I do like the Archimesh add-on. I didn't want to use it today because I didn't want to I didn't want to overload people with add-ons. But thank you, Probable Bob. I appreciate it. Something that I'm noticing is I don't like the way that this looks, and maybe it just needs a little bit more modeling, but I'm gonna inset this a bit and then extrude this a bit so it looks more like a bed. And raise this up. You recently figured out who Jimothy is? He's my hero. Jimothy! So we can double check my floor plan. Yeah, that looks like enough room. I mean, this looks like a small room, but it looks like enough room for the other stuff that I wanted to add. In terms of a rug, I'm going to be incredibly lazy and just make a cylinder. Scale it down a bit. Scale along the x-axis. Oh my god, now we have a rug. That's wild. I think the desk should be a bit taller. There we are. How much detail is enough? This is a great question from Hussein in chat. It depends on your comfort level with drawing. I would say, because I'm a very, very comfortable draftsman, I don't need a ton of detail. But I've also been drawing since I was 3 years old, and that was 35 years ago. So if you want to do the math, it's been a while. Because like, I am not going to do like this chair. That's a complicated model, and it's not going to be something that I go super accurate on. I'm going to try my best because I want people to get the experience of like actually making something that looks like a decent reference, but I'm not gonna get upset when it doesn't look exactly the same as the reference. Hold on, please, I beg you. No. There we are. I'm just gonna do like, I'm gonna do a job. I'm not gonna do like the most intricate job. Hussein, it's not worth modeling a complicated environment for a single illustration. Exactly. I should have put this disclaimer at the beginning, but this is for if you're doing something like a comic This is not you wouldn't do this for one illustration unless you really wanted to have the like different perspectives. So if you're doing one from this shot, or and then you were doing another one from this shot, this is useful for storyboarding and comic booking. This is not like a I want to draw one off. What do I do? I mean, you can do that. I don't want to poo-poo that either. But it is, and if you're really interested in learning Blender and becoming better at Blender environments, then yes, by all means. But if you're just doing it to learn how to do references, then you can definitely use your time better by just learning the perspective rules. Oh. So I'm going to show you an example of, let me open something up. Drive.google.com. I wish everything wasn't in Google, but that's a different conversation. So I worked on a comic book approximately 8 years ago, and I have a version of it online, not available for download, but I can show you. So we're gonna transition. It was called Smooth Criminals, and so in order to draw a lot of these environments, I modeled stuff first. So let me find some environments that I modeled. Hold on. Try not to spoil everything. Yeah, so here's one that I modeled. She's running down a hallway, and I didn't want to have to draw like the whole hallway, so I modeled it in Blender. Yeah, I got spoiled. No, I modeled it in Blender, so I didn't have to make it. And the best part about using Clip Studio Paint is that if you model it in Blender, then you can just drop it in Blender and then convert it into a drawing if you use Clip Studio Paint EX. However, you can just use a 3D model and then draw over your 3D model afterwards. Here's some other ones. Like, I wanted these chairs to be exact because I knew that the characters were sort of going to just kind of float on top, but I knew that the environment was, I knew that I had to have these boxes in the exact same environment as well. And I was going to have several different angles, but I wanted them to feel grounded. So I made an environment made of a ton of boxes, and I just panned the camera around. So the boxes stayed consistent, and it looked like they were in the same space. Cupcake, yeah, I'm with you. Like I see that. I see the value in doing I see the value in doing it for a single illustration. I also see the value in using it for comics. It's all about what you feel like spending your time on. And like, if you don't feel like spending your time on doing an entire environment in Blender for a single illustration, then don't. I'm not your real dad. You can do whatever you want. So I'm just trying to get like the basic shape of this chair. I'm not trying to get overly complicated with it, because that will frustrate me more than having to make this chair. I think that's right. It doesn't have to be exact either, so. So I'm just giving it the best college try that I can. Pardon me. Okay, so here we are. I personally wouldn't mind. Oh, here we are. I'm recently planning to make a slice of life comic. I love that. Absolutely do it. Uh, are pose apps on Apple App Store and basic shapes and figures useful? Did you use it? I didn't use it because I'm very comfortable drawing figures. It took many years, but I'm very comfortable with figures. So I don't use poses. Generally, sometimes I'll use like a pose for like a more complicated pose, like if someone's doing a backflip, like a sick flip, I might use a pose, but other than that, probably not. This is all higgledy-piggledy. One sec. We're gonna fix this. Where? And then I'm just gonna add another cube. I don't want to rig it. Thank you so much, Blender. Like I honestly, like I know that life drawing is maybe not the most fun. Like figure drawing can be very complicated, but if you can get comfortable doing 10,000 hours, which sounds like a lot, of figure drawing, you are never going to need like any of those posing apps or anything like that. You're never going to need them because you're just going to be like, well, I know what that looks like. I don't have to do that. Hakuna Matata, that's your favorite word? It is a wonderful phrase. It's also no passing craze. Anyway, yeah, I'm not gonna sing it because I think that it would get Wing Canvas dinged, so I'm not gonna do that. So I got the basic shape in. And like as with anything with these sorts of like environment block-ins, you don't have to be perfect. I actually might make this a separate object. So actually I'm just gonna delete this, delete faces. Because I want to do something interesting. I want to do something that'll make this so easy. You're gonna be like, wow, that was so easy, Dali. Holy mackerel. And I'm gonna be like, yeah, it was easy, wasn't it? So I'm gonna create this. I'm gonna extend this along here. Then I'm gonna move the origin to the cursor, which I think I want to be the geometry cursor there. Maybe here. Okay. You can set your geometry cursor to be with shift right click. And the reason I'm doing that is I'm gonna go to set origin to 3D cursor. Then I'm gonna go to add modifier, generate array. And I'm gonna do a circle. Oh, no, I want a circle on the z-axis arc. Now, this has worked for me in the past. No, that's not it. Central axis is Z. I recognize that. Forward axis. Up axis. Okay, well, my plan failed. That's okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to duplicate this and then rotate it on the Z axis. We were going to do like a cool array and then I don't remember how to do it right now, so we're not playing that game with Blender. We're not playing the game with Blender where Blender makes me look bad. No, go away, Dropbox. It feels like we're getting a little off track in chat, but you know what? I'm not your real dad, so. We are, let's see. Let me just make this look slightly better. And then duplicate it again. As long as it looked vaguely like what I wanted to do, which is this, then we have the basics. It does not have to be. And the best part is that we can take this and join them all together. And we can take this and join this. And now it's just one thing. Chair. Desk. Rug. And I use a free add-on, and I am going to talk about this add-on called Organizer. Oh wait, no, it's not free. But it's pretty inexpensive, and you just organize now. And it will organize things into different collections, and it'll keep it so organized that you're going to be like, wow, I've never thought about it that way. I love how organized this is. So now I have architecture for the floor, and I have furniture for the different stuff. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go into, I went into this little arrow next to the different preview modes, and I chose object color random. So now I can see the difference in objects very easily. You're not our dad, so all the things that happened to us meant nothing. Okay. Let's not get totally off track. Okay. I'm going to check my floor plan again. Chair, rug, closet. So what I haven't talked about so far is the rest of the architecture. So I'm going to go and deselect all the furniture. So now I can't select anything, but I'm going to go into the architecture collection. I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to add a cube. So now it's part of the architecture, and it is movable, usable, selectable, all that jazz. And I'm going to start making stuff like walls. So in this case, I'm not going to make a wall, but I'm going to make a closet. I'm going to make like a closet door just to block it in. And it's going to be a sliding door. And we can hide it, as with anything in Blender. Just full transparency. I am a little scatterbrained today, so I'm doing my best. And you know what? We can look in the object, which is the square inside the square, and just see how tall it is. So it's 1 meter tall. 1.3 meters tall. I might make it 1.5 meters tall. And then I'll just do 1, And then I'll do 0.05 just to make it clean. I might make this a little less wide. I just want like fairly clean numbers so I have like the ability to sorry, brain fart again. I'm eating too many brain beans. I know vaguely how tall this room is, how big the door is, especially if the room is, like I said, 3x2. I don't want the doors to be like cathedral doors. You know what I mean? I want them to be in scale with the rest of the room. And now I'm going to call these, I'm actually going to join them. They're going to be best friends. I'm going to call them closet doors. And they turned red. That's okay. Ignore that. And we can hide them because I don't want to look at them right now. Crazy Dash has asked, how long has it took you to become a professional artist? So, Crazy Dash, my journey is exceptional in the sense that I was very young when I began my art journey. I was approximately, oh, this should be in furniture. No. I was approximately 3 when I started really taking art seriously, and I mean that. I was like, I'm going to become an artist. This is what I want. And I did art school. I did private art high school. I did extracurricular art. I did art college. Then I basically went from art college straight into the workforce. So I would say, based on that math, about 15 years. No, sorry, math. When I graduated, I was 21, 18 years. However, and this is a big however, and I'm going to put this on the note thing. We can talk about my art journey here. We can call it art journey. So let's say 3-year-old me, here I am, I'm 3. I'm bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. Three years old. And now here I am. Slightly worse for wear, but still vibing with a sore back. At 38. So here was, I like to draw. I don't want to get too off track. I just want to talk about this really quick. And this is, I am a professional. So till about, let's say 21, all of this was just vibes. I learned a lot, but it was vibes. It was vibes based. And even like up till 36, it was still somewhat vibes. Only in the last 2 years have I been like, maybe I should be serious. Which that's a little bit of an exaggeration. I took everything seriously. No, so I don't want to say that. So up until 21, it was, this is career. Career starts at 21. But like here was serious improvement. 36 to 38. So in terms of how long it took me to become a professional artist, like 18 years. But in terms of taking things seriously and becoming very good at what I do, it took like 17 years of being very serious and being, and the last 2 years of being even more serious than that. John, that's the best thing that I hear. Do it scared. So, I want to join these. Join. It's here. So now I have like the beginnings of a room. You see what I'm saying? Like I have something that I can place people inside. And I can even like, stage things like really interesting, because I have the main markers. Oh, I should probably label this laptop. I don't want it to be yellow, but that's fine. I can stage things, so I can have like a shot over the shoulder of the computer chair. I can have a shot over the bed. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take like a couple of minutes and just grab like a really quick screenshot. Just gonna grab a screenshot, quick and dirty. We're gonna go back to my notes. We're gonna take our screenshot. That's a little big. We don't need to draw that big. Let's be real. Maybe a little bigger. That's all right. You know, this is very funny. I introduced myself to someone the other day. I'm like, hi, I'm Dalisay. Nice to meet you. And they're like, nice to meet you, Dallison. And I'm like, yeah, pretty much. So now, back to what we were talking about. Now you can see how you could potentially apply this to your drawing. You can be like, oh, so this is the corner of the room. This is the bed. And you can add more detail. So like, here's a pillow. Here's a blanket that's not made. Here's some stuffed toys. And you can, with a lot of these things, you can kind of guess where things are. Because it, now that you have a foundation for the perspective, this will set you up for success. Yeah, Dallison. And I was like, oh, Dallison, Texas? And we can use our references that we had earlier. And we can even add like some other stuff. We can imply like the closet door here. We can put posters on the wall. because we have things that we can measure the perspective off of. I need to turn this fan down. It's the posters on the wall. Oops. Here's the window that we were talking about earlier. I didn't model it because frankly, I forgot. But now we have like something that we can look at our references and be like, oh yeah, so this is how this would be. This is how this looks. So I can actually understand how this chair functions in this space because I modeled it. And then we have something to base our drawing off of. And it's not cheating if you're tracing something that you made. And I hesitate to say tracing because I'm not really tracing here. I'm not doing it exactly based off of the exact 3D model. Like I'm using the 3D model as a base for the drawing, but I'm not going in and being uber precise, if that makes sense. I'm using it as a guide rather than as something like, rather than like a Bible or like law. Like this is, think of your Blender environments as a hiking trail map rather than a drill. like a sergeant's drill where you have to follow the sergeant's rule as if it were law. So you see how this has helped us create a very quick environment very easily with perspective, with everything that we need to create. Yeah, exactly. Crazy Dash. So like say this is like shot 1. And then you could say shot 2. And then you could go back into Blender. Where's my Blender button? And then you could say shot 2 is maybe something like this. Or maybe something like this, just for argument's sake. Okay, move references. And then you take that. Yeah, no one's getting arrested today, don't worry. Do that. Transition into this. And you can see how this now becomes very useful if you're doing something where you have the same environment at different angles, but you want to maintain consistency. So you can draw the teddy bear again. If it's not the exact same pose as the original teddy bear, that's fine. No one's going to be like, oh my god, the teddy bear moved. No one's going to do that. And if they do, then they need to find better things to do with their time. So this is how you make environments in Blender and use them to your advantage for illustration. And like you can definitely, like we said, use it for single illustrations, but it is very handy for storyboarding, comic booking. All that jazz. I forgot that the chair had arms, but now it has arms. And you can hide the references. And, oh, wait. So you can see that the floor is here. You can just draw a line straight up. And you can add your door in. I would say model the door. Don't do what I did. You can include... So in this angle, I probably should have turned on the closet door. However, because like it's not like you're not seeing the top of the door, you're not seeing like the door open or anything like that. Some vertical lines will get the implication across that there is a closet door there. So this is a sort of basic application. I'm going to say this is a basic application of Blender for environment illustrations. Now, this is exactly why I wanted to do an exterior urban space, because I think that Blender for urban spaces is immensely useful. It's also useful for organic spaces like forests and stuff. But like, because organic spaces are organic, it's a lot easier to get away with just making something up than a cityscape where you're like, oh, I need to make this accurate. So we're gonna make a new file. We're gonna delete the default cube. Goodbye. And we're gonna try and make something. I didn't make a. Now this is me using absolutely no floor plan. So I've already made a mistake. We're gonna go back to the floor plan. We're gonna go back here. We're gonna go. What me want in terms of urban space. So in my head, in my brain, here's my brain. It's not smooth. It's got many wrinkles, many bumps. I'm thinking, I want something, I want an alleyway. So I kind of want something like this. Like I want to have like, this is what I want to make. I want to make like something with a dumpster. I want something with like garbage cans on the side. I want like I want a set of stairs. And you can make this as messy as you want. This doesn't have to have a good perspective. It doesn't have to have anything. I want a fire escape. You just want to write it down. Whoa, you have a brain? Unfortunately. So when it comes to, this is just my initial thoughts. So this is just like a thumbnail. This is my thumbnail of what I want. Because you can do either a thumbnail or a floor plan, I would say. So in this case, I'm going to do a thumbnail because I kind of know what I want. I don't necessarily want to make a bunch of stuff I don't need. And then I can label stuff. So I can label this. I can be like fire escape. Oopsie. Fire escape. Door, obviously. Dumpster. Garbage. Stairs. And even though you know what it is, it's good to label it anyway. Because you know what? Sometimes you might look at it later and be like, what is that? And if you draw a thumbnail and then you look at it later and you're like, what is that? Then your thumbnail has failed. Which is fine. That's just information for later, but I would label it. So now I know that I want to make something with a dumpster, a fire escape, like a door with some stairs leading on up to it, and some garbage cans. And frankly, I don't know how long alleys are, but I'm going to say that this alleyway is going to be about 5 meters long by about 2.5 meters wide. No, I think that's a lie. I want to say 2 meters wide. I might actually make it longer. I want to make it 8 meters long. And the reason for that is that I want extra room. So like if I go deep into my environment, people, like I'm not going to suddenly have it cut off here. I'm not going to have something that cuts off right here. Like 1.5 might be better. Yeah, you're right. 1.5. 1.5. A nice skinny alleyway. And then I can call this ground. Deselect the ground. And like something that you can do that I find really helpful, and I'm going to use a mouse, is you can actually annotate where you want to put stuff in Blender. So like you can go up into the top view, use the pencil, and be like, I want the dumpster here. I want the garbages here. I want the fire escape here. And I want the, did I lose it? No, it's here. And I want the door. Now, why are you doing that? I want the door over here. So you can do all that. If you want to make sure that, you want to follow your floor plan, you can kind of get an idea of like the scale of things that way. And you can be like, oh, you know what? That looks proportional. You don't have to do that though. I'm just doing that for the sake of showing you what I'm thinking. So I don't actually know how big a dumpster is. I know it's probably not 1.5 meters though. But we can maybe look up the dimensions of a dumpster. Dimensions of a dumpster. Wow, that's so much information on dumpsters. So your average 8-yard dumpster is 6 feet by 5 feet by 7 feet. So what's that in metric? Metric. 0.5 by 1. Oh, wow. 0.5 by 1 meter by 1. Are they really that tall? Oh, wait, here we are. 2 yard, 8 yard, 6 by 6. Oh, no, this will be also 0.5. Okay, there we are. That makes more sense. So here's your 8-yard dumpster. You can stick it where you want it. The AutoCAD experience coming in clutch. Truly. Oh, my headphones are dying. One sec. We're back. Now, I've already forgotten my floor plan. Oh, here, I'm looking at it. I want a fire escape. No, I was looking it up, and you're pretty much You're pretty much right. It's in inches mostly, and I don't frankly feel like converting inches into metric right now. I think it's actually, hold on. Okay, hold on. Oh, here we are. Commercial load-in dumpsters of 1.85, 1.83 by 2.8 by 1.3. Okay, so 1.8, no. Oh, that's height. Oh, what? No, that, wait. 1.8. 0.9 by 0.9. So now that I have like this measurement of a dumpster from real life, we now know that the alleyway should probably be a little bit wider. So now we can make this 2.5. Make it deselectable again. But now we have a pretty good scale. I looked it up. So now we have a dumpsterino. We have, and we can kind of base everything else based off the dumpster, which we love. So we're going to name this dumpster. We actually, yeah, most alleys are tight, but like if we have a commercial dumpster, you want something that a garbage truck can fit into. At least a little bit. Something that like can fit. This music is epic. I'm gonna turn it down just a smidgen. Just a smidgen because it's blowing my brains out. Dumpster. Everything else we can base off the size of the dumpster. So now we can go in here, bring in the stairs. I could make the stairs manually, but I'm not going to. Remember how we made stairs last week? I think that's too high. Hold on, wait. Ah. There. Oh yeah. Remember how we made stairs last week? No. Okay, so you press Control B. It'll look like this at first. It'll just look like this. You change the segments to like however many steps you want. So I'll say 6. You go to custom and change it to steps. You can actually change it probably to oh dear. Basically, you just want to make sure that you have enough segments for as many stairs as you need. Steps. And now you have steps. Ta-da. And then you can put that there. Now we can make a big wall. I'm going to call this stairs. And now it's red and it stands out. Love that. We're going to make a big wall here. Because this is a big building. We've decided. Now, I'm very aware of the time because I have to go right at the end of 5. So, we're not going to spend a ton of time on this one. We're gonna scale this up. We're gonna try and get most of this in so we can get like maybe a basic representation of an alleyway. It's not gonna be perfect, but it's gonna be something. And then we're gonna build the fire escape, or at least the beginnings of a fire escape. So you can see how having this sort of practical application of making sets in Blender is really going to help you think about sets in a 3D way. And in a way that like really gets your brain juices flowing. See what I've done? And now I can make my cylinders. Make them little. Not too little. Because basically I just want representations of what a garbage can could be. I don't need it to be exactly garbage can shaped. I just need it to be there. And in fact, now that I think about it, the garbage cans would probably actually be next to the dumpster. So as like extras. Probably not on this side because the truck would probably drive on that side. We're thinking. We're learning computers, neural net processors. And then I can go into edit here. I can go here. Go here. I can do this. I can do this. Oopsie. What I'm doing is I'm just making like a space to put a door. Because what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go in here. I'm just going to delete this face. It's kind of ugly, but it works. Because now I can just grab this. And I can grab some references. Oh, I'm going to call this alleyway. I spelled it very wrong, but that's okay. And I can grab this. I can take a screenshot. Yahoo! Go into my beautiful notes. Take my screenshot. Go down here. And say, so this is my screenshot of my alleyway. And then go on Google Images or Pinterest or wherever. Get pictures of the items that you want to have represented in your environment because they're not perfectly represented right now using just basic primitives. However, you can add your reference images here. Here's a good image of a fire escape. This is not what I want. Actually, I lied. Oh, here we are. This is what I wanted. I wanted something like this. And we can get a couple images for this. I wanted the ladder, and then I wanted something like this. Oopsie. something to just show like the full breadth and depth of a fire escape, as well as what one with a ladder on the edge would look like. Garbage bins. I'll say round. Here's a good one. Oh, wow. Perfect. Exactly what I wanted. No, don't open an ad. Thank you so much. Perfect. We can take that. Slap it in my little references area. Turn this down. And now you can start drawing. Now you can be like, okay, so I see how this looks. How do I take this and apply it to this? So you can probably extrapolate some information based on your reference that this would actually be on an angle like this. And you can model that in Blender, but if you're just trying to block it in really quickly, it doesn't have to be perfect, especially if you're just storyboarding or you're just roughing out the environment. You can even set the lids to be different. So there's like more garbage in one side than the other. You can come down here, add in the dumpster latches, for lack of a better word. Maybe they're not that big. They just need to be big enough for a dumpster to latch onto. You can look at your reference for your garbage bins, add those bad boys in. You can add debris onto the ground, like a Coke can, a rat. And you can take some information and like design your own fire escape. And like, granted, this is like 35 years of drawing stuff that I know how to draw like a stairs in perspective, but you can start just extrapolating data from your 3D block-in. That will help you create environments that serve you instead of frustrate you. And now you can do basically whatever you want. You can add like just piles of garbage, because you know what? Maybe it's a dirty city. You can make it clean. You can make it like a totally clean city. You can add like a brick texture to the wall following the perspective of the Blender scene. I'm currently drawing a small environment with one of my D&D OCs and his entities with fine liners. Oh, cool. So, you see what I did here? I made I made something in Blender very quickly. I took it, the store could be a little bigger. I made a workable environment. Oh, I made something workable, where you can start something off and just have something to work off of. You know what I mean? And then you can even start adding people in. You can add like someone smoking over here or something like that. Maybe they're on their smoke break and they're just like, I hate my job. Right? Because you know the scale of things, right? Like you know that the dumpster is approximately 0.5 meters tall, so the human is going to be a little bit bigger than that. But we have half an hour left, so I'm going to go over some of the great contributions we got on the Discord. Hold on. Let me get it loaded up. This is the showcase part of our stream. Because I hold on. Hold on. No, we're good. I promise. I promise. I need here we are. So we have something from Date, I believe, or Date, maybe. We are going to showcase their work. This is a rudimentary cover art for my comic. It's about a year old. I don't think I've changed the name, but I wouldn't use this as a cover anymore. So here we are. So this is beautiful. I love this. I recognize that this person doesn't want to use it anymore as their cover. But I like the composition. I like the colors. I think it's really charming. And it is an epic environment. This is epic. It's got like, try not to belch directly into the microphone. It's got like atmospheric perspective. It's got like a lot going on, and not in a bad way. And yeah, Date. I'm just gonna call you Date. This is really fun. Thank you so much for sharing. We actually have like another submission that I didn't see earlier, and I'm gonna pin it. I'm gonna add it to my. I'm just gonna quickly. You don't get to see behind the curtain. Not yet. No. No. This is by, hold on. Don't worry. This is by Max. It's relevant to our discussion because the background was made in Blender. We actually have a Blender user. So the message was, any Blender fans? I'm doing some art for a game I'm working on. Had a bit too much fun with the effects in Blender. This is not Max Caulfield. But this is submitted by Max on the Discord. Thank you so much. I love the colors. I love the composition. Don't get too lost in the effects in Blender. It's easy to. Great work. We also have, who's the next one? I keep hiding it because I don't know who's next. Because I put them all out of order because I'm a menace to myself and others. This is by Elise. This is like a cool Western saloon town. Their message to the group was, I really want to get better at landscapes, but they are vexing indeed. Here's a 1-point perspective piece I've been working on following the stream on Monday. Well, great work, Elise. This is a great 1-point perspective. I think that you can keep going and you can keep trying to improve your 1-point perspective and even move up to 2 and 3 point. yeah, great work. And now we have, hold on. This is by Kelzune. This next one is by Kelzune. This is an old environment. Nope. Here's an old piece of mine. Hoping to create a new environment for this challenge. I love this one. I love the colors of this one. This one is beautiful. And these are all submitted on our Discord, by the way. These are all submitted by art nerds like you who want to improve their art, have accountability. So please feel free to join our Discord. Zipper, if you can drop that sick Discord link in chat, that would be outstanding. Thank you so much. And this next one is by then this next one is by Froggy. Froggy did a scene from Little Nightmares 2. It is my absolute favorite game. The environments this game has is crazy, so I wanted to try and draw part of it. This was pretty tricky, but I'm pretty happy with how it came out, especially since I don't do backgrounds often. Thank you so much for submitting, Froggy. This is really beautiful. There's actually like a great screen cap of the hello. There's actually a great screen cap of the original, so you can see exactly you can see exactly how Froggy got the inspiration for the piece and how they drew it. Really fantastic work. Yeah, no, this is really great. I'm really happy with everyone's submission so far for epic environments. Great work, everyone. No, that's not it. Ignore that. I'm just gonna look at my notes and wrap up everything that we talked about today, and maybe make like a new layer. Or maybe I'll just do it in this corner. So everything that we talked about today. Here's everything that we talked about today. So we talked about blocking in Blender. Not super high detail. Just as much as you need. Use references. That's horrible writing. I apologize. Use references. Use them. I'm gonna be mad. I draw myself with this hair, and that's not what my hair looks like. Anyway, yeah. Make a floor plan for interiors and exteriors too. Oh, Groovy, we can look at yours. You just uploaded yours? I'll pin it and I'll add it to the... We'll just Beep. We'll just, no. Copy image link. So this is Groovy's in chat. Thank you for sharing. So this is this is your 1-point perspective. Let me see what you wrote. My OG submission for this challenge, but I'm going to redraw it after the critique we had with Josh. Awesome. Yeah, so like I really like the colors and the mood of this. I like the way that you've decided to do all the details. It kind of looks like a cool like 90s cartoon background. Like it looks like that kind of wacky, like wacky in a good way. Yeah, great work. Thank you for sharing. I'm gonna go back to my notes. Make a floor plan for interiors. Measure with real world measurements. Real world measurements. Make a mood board. We didn't do that today. We sort of did it today, but not as intensely as we could have. Make a mood board. Organic stuff. You can in Blender, but Blender is better for inorganic. And the reason Blender is better at inorganic is because it is much quicker to block in inorganic shapes in Blender than it is to block in organic shapes. You will be spending a ton of time modeling in organic stuff. Like modeling trees, modeling plants, that takes a long time. When really, it's really hard to see perspective on those things. Like obviously perspective matters, but it's going to matter a lot more on inorganic things. Have a good sleep, Groove. It's going to matter a lot more for perspective. On inorganic. Right? And set object color to random for easier viewing. And finally, have fun. So let's see. We talked about blocking in Blender. We talked about using references. We talked about the different points of perspective, what we were able to build with the 3D backgrounds. I'll leave the thumbnails with the 3D backgrounds in there. We talked about my fart journey. I'll write art journey because I don't want anyone getting mad at me because I wrote fart. Art journey. I think something else to bear in mind. I want to say tips to bear in mind. This one's really important. Clip Studio EX, very important, not Pro, can trace 3D objects. FBX OBJ. Easy to build a set and reuse forever. Good for comics. Don't spend a ton of time in Blender. It is a map, not a rule book. We have a question in chat from Gamer5094. Hi, I have a question. When a person is making a movie or series by using that, does it take time? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you mean. Kilzune, we featured you. I don't know if you saw, but we featured you. Great work this week or this month. Yeah, I'm going to save this and I'm going to upload this to the Discord. And I'm going to actually, I know that we are approximately 17 minutes out. But I gotta go. I unfortunately I have to go. So I'm going to wrap up for today. Let me get the end of stream going. We just a reminder, everyone, Winged Canvas is we are on school, and we are a illustration school. We're a school of illustration and visual storytelling, and we are dedicated to making creativity easily accessible to everyone because we believe art is essential to humanity. Join our art nerd communities today on Instagram, on Facebook, and on TikTok, and join our Discord. Coming up, hold on. Coming up on Monday, August 24th, we have a great stream coming up. I'm so excited for it. It is a student story. I went to manga school in Japan. Here's what I learned. Are you excited for that? I'm so excited for that. That will be with Faye and Gabriel. So I hope that you all come by on Monday. Check us out on Wing Canvas here on YouTube. Pardon me. And join us for the student story of going to manga school in Japan. And then, yeah, please feel free to join our Discord, like I said, so you can share your art with us. Our mission is to make art education easily accessible, and we are dedicated to helping art nerds turn their passion into income. Thank you so much, everyone. My name is Dalisay. I'm wrapping up for today. I hope you had a great time with me as we hop, skipped, and jumped through Blender, using Blender to illustrate environments. Sorry, another brain fart, too many brain beans. Thank you. Good night.